So the topic for the fourth panel is Nomu Market still the preferred destination for family businesses? So allow me to introduce the moderator, Sulaiman, who is actively involved in Nomu Market transactions at BMG Financial Group.
Thank you for the introduction, Tamer. Before I begin, I'd like to invite my panelists, Mr. Mohammad Shahin, the CFO of Shair Group, and Vittorio Rocchi, the CEO of Sitaf Foods. Gentlemen, please let's have a round of applause for them. So just to give a bit of background on the Saudi Nomu Market, it's basically the parallel market that was introduced by the authorities a few years ago. And Nomu literally translates to grow. So the phrase Nomu means to grow. So by that, you get an indication of what the authorities are targeting. And just briefly, to list on the Nomu market, you only need a capital of 10 million Saudi riyals, which is like 2 million pounds. Whereas the corresponding figure for the main market is over 300 million riyals, which is 50 million pounds. So a lot of family businesses, and as part of my role at BMG Financial Group, we are exhausted with a lot of requests from family businesses and private offices who are looking to list on the Nomu market to take their businesses to the next stage. And I'm very lucky to have with me two of our most important clients, actually, who have already gone down that route. Shair Group and Sitaf Foods. So without further ado, I'd like to start with you, Mohammad. Tell us a bit about Shair Group and what are the major activities you're involved in, and why have you considered going for the Nomu Market listing as part of your corporate action?
Sure. So first of all, thank you very much. I would like to thank BMG, Mr. Basil, for this kind invite. I'm really glad to be on this panel to talk about the economic diversification in Saudi Arabia. How is this related to Nomu? And most importantly, the role of Shair Group in developing in achieving the economic diversification. So Shair basically, for almost half a century in Saudi Arabia, brought in unique technology innovations into the market, localize these technologies, and building economies of scale and building back integration. And just to give an example about the industrial development is the fiberglass. We are the only group in Saudi Arabia that is manufacturing and supplying fiberglass, not only in Saudi, but globally. Mm-hmm. Fiberglass is very much related to the construction industry. It's also related to other sectors, most importantly about the renewables. Mm-hmm. And as the Saudi government is placing so much emphasis on the ESG and the green energy, with the investments being planned and already underway about the solar panel, the wind farms. So fiberglass is used in the wind farms. The second part is to do with the titanium. Mm-hmm. Titanium is used in the paint, again, construction. But very interestingly, it is also being developed to basically be more environment friendly. So we're producing paint which is anti-pollution. Mm-hmm. And contributing to the green economy. The third element of industrial development is to do with what we call it the non-woven fabrics. Non-woven fabrics basically used in day-to-day hygiene industry, as well as in the hospitals and medicals and other applications. And above all, of course, the petrochemicals. So we have invested into the infrastructure of the petrochemical over the many years. So basically, this is the first umbrella of Al Shair group activities. And then the second one, which I think all of the esteemed speakers talked about this morning, is real estate development. As a defensive, investment, real estate will grow regardless of the status of the economy. There is a huge demand, either in GCC or in the UK or in Germany. And finally, we've been focusing on investing on the renewables and waste recycling. Al Shair is the only group that is basically recycling the tires, used tires, and shredding them to produce rubber-based products. So ESG is a key investment theme on our agenda. And finally, the private equity going into specific investments that basically fit within the strategic agenda. Going to your second question about why Nomu. So basically, we have been monitoring the development of Nomu Market since 2016. Just to give you a flavor about the SMEs in Saudi Arabia, SME almost account for about 20% of the total GDP. Now, given the fact that now GDP is approaching $1 trillion, so we have like more than $200 billion of SMEs.
Wow.
So that really explains the interest from our side for developing our, medium-sized businesses through the Nomu. Nomu Market, if I look at the fundamentals, the market's indicators, the return on equity versus last year has been growing double digit. If you look at the valuation multiples so far, it's been between 3 to 6 multiples. So these indicators, are healthy in terms of having a stable market, and at the same time having sufficient liquidity and trading volume. So that really gave us the interest to look into our portfolio, identify the jewels, and prepare them for the IPOs in the Nomu market.
Perfect. Very well summed up. And I think also another main factor is the cost. Listing on the Nomu probably only cost around a quarter of the price of listing on the main market, and small family offices really take that into consideration as well. So thank you for that.
Correct. Yes.
Vittorio, I'd like to move on to you. So tell us a little bit about Sitaf Group, and I'd like to know as well, why did you consider the listing on the Nomu market?
So first of all, thank you very much. I'm very honored to be here today. I'm managing a company that is probably doing something very different from all what you gentlemen have been talking about before. So very different from industry or from finance or from banking. I'm actually importing food, which is very different. So Sitaf Food is a company, is a family-owned company. We are importing luxury food and reselling it, distributing it, supplying it to all the best restaurants and best hotels and best catering of the country. We import fresh seafood, fresh cheeses, but fresh truffles by plane daily. And we also import a very wide variety of foods, frozen, dry, from all over the world. I mean, Greece, France, Italy, Spain, Canada. And what we try to have is to be able to, let's say, supply all our customers with almost all their needs, apart from the local, fruits and vegetables.
So you import stuff from all over the world into Saudi Arabia.
Into Saudi Arabia.
And who are your main clients? Like, who do you?
Well, all five-star hotels. They are our customers. Some of them are buying more items, some of them less, but we are working with all five-star hotels and many of the four-star hotels. and all the international restaurants and luxury restaurants. We are working with them throughout the country.
And the second part of my question, how does the Nomu market come into all of this?
Well, I mean, I'm managing a family-owned business, and I wanna give a future to this family-owned business. So to go public, I think, is one of the best options. And to go public through the Nomu market is, I think, the easiest and cheapest option. And then later on, we can then move on to the main market. And I think that the BMG and Mr. Basel are the right partners to lead us into this way.
Yeah, definitely. You have to keep the organizer of the event happy. So good you mentioned his name.
I don't have to, but I think that this.
Perfect.
Yeah, I think
sure,
if I may add a comment here, it's quite interesting that we are having a blend of businesses here. And if you look at the Nomu market right now, we have got about 11 segments within the Nomu market. And of course, more companies coming, it will add more diversification, it will add more market depth. And that is the main objective. The Nomu right now, market capitalization is almost $10 billion.
Yes.
Within 4 years, this is phenomenal. And if it continues in that rate, then obviously we will be talking about at least 100 billion, maybe in 4 or 5 years from now.
Yeah, this is actually one of my questions for later in the panel. Speaking of diversification, you mentioned Al Shair Group is involved in a very wide range of activities. So I just want to ask you, which company in Al Shair Group have you shortlisted as a candidate for the Nomu market listing, and why?
Well, we've identified 2 of our pride jewels within the portfolio. The first is the glass fiber, which is the feedstock of the fiberglass. The glass fiber in Saudi is we don't have any competitors again, so we are the only manufacturer of the only one. In addition to that, if you look at the cost competitiveness, the main feedstock into the business is local. So basically having a huge advantage. The location of the business in Saudi in terms of supply chain, very much close to Europe and the other MENA countries. We have a very unique technology above all, so producing high quality products that we can sell again not only in Saudi but also in European markets and other MENA markets. The glass fiber is used, as I mentioned, in different applications and construction in the case of insulation, the renewables in the case of the wind blades. The piping is a huge opportunity within Saudi. Pipes right now are made of steel. Glass fiber has a key advantage that it is anti-corrosion. So with the high humidity, then it is the best fit to replace the steel pipes with our products. So basically, huge opportunity to us to expand because we already have demand locally and globally. The second jewel for us is the non-woven fabrics. So since the COVID and the awareness of personal hygiene, as well as for companies to have PPE, protective personal equipment in hospitals as well. So non-woven fabrics basically produce, the personal care products like the diapers, baby diapers, the feminine care, in the hospitals, the masks and other products as well. It has, again, we've established a unique technology within the business, and it is our proprietary. So when we go into the market, we basically have huge demand, again, in Saudi as well as globally.
Perfect. Okay. And Vittorio, just on that note, since I work directly with Sitaf Foods, I know firsthand that you guys have been growing exponentially in the past few years. And like Mohammad mentioned, you also have very few competitors in this space. So I just wanted to ask you, with regard to this very quick growth, is listing on the Nomu market a part of the plan at this stage, or do you think family businesses like yourself that are growing drastically, do they wait before they list to get their valuation higher? So what's your take on the timing of the listing, basically?
Well, I think that from a point of view, we should wait. But from the other point of view, we want the Nomu market to benefit from our growth. So as in these years we will be growing fast, I think that we should be listed now so that the market can also benefit from this growth. Because of course, I mean, there are a lot of competitors coming from outside, and we cannot keep growing as we grew in the last years. I mean, from 2020 to 2021, we grew 90%, so we almost doubled the turnover. But that's not, sustainable. So I think that it would be good to get listed in the next 6 months or next year maximum.
Mm-hmm. So similar family businesses who are growing, they're not hesitant to list even though they're in the expansion phase?
I think that they should not be hesitant, because with the capital that they get from the market, they should reinvest it into the company to let it grow even more and to get bigger market shares before other companies come to the market.
Perfect. And Mohammad, I just wanted to ask you about the global economic impact on family businesses looking to list. There are a lot of calls for a recession coming in the next few years, and there's a very, very sort of poor financial outlook for many companies who have been doing business globally in Europe. So I just wanted to ask you, given the current economic climate, do you think that listing on the Nomu market is still a good option?
Yeah, if I may talk first of all at the global macro level. Okay. So all countries' businesses have been hit by what I call Bermuda Triangle. Mm-hmm. You have the hike in the prices, inflation. You have geopolitical crisis, and also you have supply chain crisis because of COVID. So Saudi Arabia is part of the world. However, if you basically look at the economic indicators of Saudi Arabia, in Q1 2022, the GDP growth was almost 10% versus same quarter last year. If you look at the inflation, it's phenomenally low, below 3%. Most importantly, if you look at the FDI, the foreign direct investment, it has reached the highest level since many years, almost $20 billion. Now that gives the clear signal that international investors have confidence in the Saudi market. So back to your point about the impact of the global macro level on the Saudi, I feel Saudi is secured to some extent against the headwinds happening around us. On top of that, if you look at the government agenda in terms of expansionary fiscal policy, government is expanding in NEOM, in other real estate developments. So all of that enable the private sector to basically operate. Mm-hmm. So I don't see, in my opinion, at least in the short term, I don't see repercussions happening from the global headwinds.
Very well said. Thank you. Over to you, Vittorio. We had discussions as part of BMG and Sitaf. You were looking for a strategic partner to sort of merge with before listing. So I just wanted to ask you, what are the sort of key indicators you look for in a partner before merging with them, and why would you do it before listing? So I just wanted to get a sort of insight into the thought process behind you and your management about the steps of or the criteria of finding a strategic partner, And when is the right time to merge with that partner? Is it pre-listing? Is it post-listing? Or it doesn't matter?
I would say pre-listing, if possible. Why? Because if we find a partner that can bring us a lot of know-how, expertise, economy of scale, that would make us stronger, would make him stronger. We are not only looking for capital. We are looking for someone or some big company, maybe an international, multinational company that wants to enter the Saudi market and does it through us. Okay. So we give them a chance to enter the market, and they give us a chance to grow stronger with them. And then we enter the Nomu market.
Definitely. I think this ties well into what one of our previous panelists were saying, that any company from outside Saudi Arabia looking to get into this very lucrative market, they might as well just invest in an already existing company that already has many contracts, rather than looking to set up from scratch. It will take them many years to get to the level you are.
Saudi is a very flourishing market. Mm-hmm. Very nice place to be now. But if you are a foreign company and you want to enter the Saudi market alone, is not easy. So it's much easier to find a Saudi partner, someone that is already there, and join him.
Definitely, I agree with that. Another question for you, Mohammad. You mentioned one of your businesses has no competitors. Is that correct?
The fiberglass.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how are you looking to use that to your advantage before listing it potentially on the Nomu market?
Well, I would like, first of all, to bring the non-woven fabrics business into the picture.
Okay.
Because we have established a solid business more than 20 years. Mm-hmm. And we are in the process of expanding and by adding more capacity to the business. Which basically will meet the demands in terms of the hygiene industry, in terms of the medical, and even for the construction in the case of installations. So this is one of the I would say unique opportunities where I am adding a unique business into Nomu. And talking about the glass fiber, as I mentioned, we are the only manufacturer in Saudi of fiberglass and glass fiber. So that gives us actually, a huge advantage, especially when we are dealing with our key customers, when we have already qualified our products. So we are go-to, supplier when it comes to the various products we are producing.
Perfect. And just before I go to the audience, I had a question for the both of you with regards to the Nomu market. As you know, it only started 5 years ago, and there are dozens of companies that are listed already. So, Vittorio, starting with you, where do you see the Nomu market in the next few years, in the next 5 years? Do you think it's just a fad that will disappear with time, or do you think it's here to stay?
No, I really think it's here to stay. Saudi Arabia is full of solid, good, family-owned companies, and these companies, I think that they will go to Nomu market and do well there. So I do not think it's going to disappear soon.
Perfect. No. And Mohammad, what's your opinion on the future of
well, definitely it's going to stay. I mean, this is part of transforming, the capital markets in Saudi. And as the discussion early in the morning, AIM market here, developed the whole economy. Mm-hmm. Now, if you look at statistics for Nomu last year, the market cap was about 3 billion.
Yes.
Now it is reaching 10 billion.
Tripled.
Mm-hmm. So phenomenal. In Q1 22, 7 IPOs made worth of $600 million. So again, that gives you the indication of the huge potential behind the Nomu. And as I said at the very beginning, SMEs contributes to more than 20% of the GDP. So a part of 2030 vision is to increase the contribution of the SMEs to almost 35%.
Definitely. So just to recapitulate that the Nomu market is here to stay.
Yeah.
And the growth has been mesmerizing, to say the least. We have over 10, 12 companies where we are actively involved with regards to listing. So I'd like to turn over to the audience. If anyone has a question, please raise your hand. The two here at the front. Yeah, here. Oh, there's one at the back? Okay, please introduce yourself and ask your question.
Thank you. Can you hear me? Excellent.
Yeah.
So firstly, thank you, Vittorio, Mohammad, and our moderator from BMG. Fantastic and very insightful panel. My name's Anil Khan. I'm from the Salon, focused on building communities, aggregating ecosystems, and then building that synchronicity of the relationships. More back to the panel, I think Saudi Nomu Market has been incredibly successful, as you mentioned, in a very short period of time, based on the number of family businesses that have been interacting, engaging, and indeed listing. Yes. Building on your final question that you just posed to the panel with regards to the longevity of the market itself, I wanted to recapture from the sort of evolutionary journey of a family business. And my question is this then: is Nomu Market perceived more as a sort of stepping stone into going public, which secures family business longevity, or rather, is it the final destination? So what I'm reflecting on here is there's a desire for many family businesses locally to go public, which obviously has many benefits from a governance point of view, from a financing point of view, and so on and so forth. Traditionally, in the local market, my understanding is that there's been a reluctance owing not only to governance, but also to equitable interests and so on and so forth. So how far has Saudi Nomu Market gone to circumvent and alleviate them family business concerns? And going back to the question, is Nomu Market a stepping stone for family businesses into the larger exchange?
Actually, I think one of our panelists already answered that the Nomu Market is a stepping stone to the main market. Maybe Mohammad, if you could, or Vittorio, any one of you, if you could further elaborate on the Nomu Market. Is it a stepping stone, or is it just the final destination?
Well, again, if we have the analogy in the UK where we have AIM and then we have the FTSE, right? So the equivalently in Saudi Arabia, Nomu basically focusing on the SMEs. So growing the SME category is very crucial at the government level. From our perspective, Al Shair Group, it is strategic because when you have the medium-sized business, our jewels, and you have the expansion and very ambitious growth plans to serve local and global markets, you need to have economies of scale, operationally as well as financially. So enabling family business to go into the Nomu Market will provide the right access of funds, and also bearing in mind in Nomu, it's only exclusive to qualified investors. So basically, very professional investors coming into the market, making the right decisions, and trading in the market.
Yeah, that's a good point. To be qualified in the Nomu Market, you need to have assets of over $1 million Saudi riyal. So it's not open to the everyday retail investor. So thank you for that, Mohammed. Any other questions? Over here, front row.
Yeah. Gentlemen, after we heard Tom about dual listing, and since we are in the heart of the London financial market, how do you see the possibility to dual list here, knowing that you deal with international companies and you will be the first maybe dual listed companies on Nomu?
Please. I mean, I really do not know what to answer to this question, because I mean the London market is something very big for the size of our company. But why not in the future? We hope to do well and to grow, and to maybe in the next years. Yeah, step by step is always the best, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Well, to answer your question, Mr. Basil, it's very important to have a dual listing in the right time, because it creates more value to the business. It creates more reach and visibility when you are listed in the AIM. As I said, in our group, we focus on globalizing our joint ventures, our business opportunities, and therefore we consider as well the international funding. So I am all for it when it happens.
Perfect. I think we have time for one more question. I know there are a lot of hungry faces here. It's almost time for lunch. Maybe we can take another one as well from this gentleman. Yes?
So just a quick one. The Saudi Nomu Market, are you recognized under HMRC tax legislation as a recognized stock exchange yet in London? If not, can I help? Vittorio, come stai? Molto grazie per your presentation. A question for you. I see that you need a scalability. So, also, if you need a good lawyer, that's what I do. But only if I can ask, do you have good burrata?
Very good burrata, fresh. And my lawyer is sitting right there. So, thank you.
This was meant for questions, actually, but good PR tool for you as well.
Thank you.
Please.
Yeah, it's been an amazing session this morning. Learned so much and met so many nice people here networking. The question is, this Nomu market, is it only for local investors or is it also open to international investors? And yeah, so.
Good question. As of yet, it's mainly open to the GCC residents, so those in the Gulf. But over time, they have plans to expand to foreign investors as well. Just one final question before we go.
It's a very quick one. What's your KYC dynamic like?
Mine or the
KYC?
So there's a very strict KYC process that you have to go through. It's actually set out by the Saudi authorities, the CMA, which is the licensed regulator in the... What's that based on? If I go into detail about, we can have it outside. Definitely, people are hungry here. So
I mean, just again, a quick answer. Part of the regulations is 20% of the equity will have to be owned by the qualified investors. Right.
This is compared to 30% in the main market.
Exactly. So coming to your point about KYC, a very strong KYC because qualified investors will not, put their money until they make sure, the company already passed, the key tests in terms of the business potential and the growth.
Yeah, so there are separate KYCs for the people investing in it and the companies listing in it as well. And they're very stringent. Not everyone can go through it. So on that note, I'd like to thank you all for this session and thank you for your time. Thank you.